It has begun. Gervonta Davis finally talks Saudi offers and potentially fighting in Saudi Arabia. Is that a thing? That is what you will learn in this video. Let's talk about it. I got the breaking news. Gervonta Davis has now finally addressed the topic. Would he fight in Saudi Arabia? Because there's reports that came out and it said His Excellency wanted to fight with Devin Haney and he wants to bring Gervonta Davis to the kingdom. And that conversation is now being addressed by Gervonta Davis. I made this graphic based on a conversation derived on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now called X. Gervonta Davis tells Ray Jackson, well, let me start off with Ray Jack. Shout out to my dude, Ray Jack. My effers really think Saudi is about to take over boxing until I see Tank and Canelo over there in multiple events a year. We ain't got ish to worry about. You can't take over a sport without the biggest stars on board. #boxing, which makes sense. The guys that are basically called the face of boxing haven't really fought over there yet, right? Gervonta Davis seen this and says, they made me mad. If they want me, they got to send me something to my front door, like 2 Ferraris or something. Like before I even think about going over there. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Gervonta Davis says they're going to have to send something like 2 Ferraris or something before it's even up for discussion, up for debate, even something to negotiate. And here's the thing, because you have a lot of idiots who are going to interpret this, oh, he doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. But Abdul Wahid, a.k.a. Gervonta Davis, is absolutely right. Now, I'm not opposed to a fighter fielding different offers. You know, if His Excellency can, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. If he can do a Godfather type offer and then a fighter, whoever the fighter is, decides to take it, that's on them. So you should definitely hear out your options, weigh out your options, and decide what's right for you and your career. And I'm not anti that. That makes perfect sense. But Gervonta Davis is right. He is the man. There's no one his age group, The only person you can even mention in the same breath is Canelo Alvarez, or fighters who are pretty much inactive legends like Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao, but they're not permanent boxing citizens right now. They've had their era and whatnot, but I'm talking about like active fighters. It's Canelo, it's Gervonta Davis, and then it's everybody else. So Canelo, he's way up at 168, undisputed. So he fights nowhere in or around the division of Abdul Wahid, aka Tank. So that's not something that would ever be discussed in any level of seriousness because they're too far apart in weight. We know that. So basically, the only person who could, I guess, threaten Gervonta Davis' statement of, being the A side and being the cash cow and being the face of boxing is someone that he would never fight anyway, because, and besides that, Gervonta Davis and Canelo have showed publicly a big mutual respect amongst each other. Both fighters have been on record like, oh, I enjoyed that person's fight, or when they tell Gervonta Davis what Canelo said about him and said he's a fighter he likes to watch, he's like, that's a big look, I like it, and we got a list too. Monogamy. I'm on Canelo. I'm on the avenue. I'm on Canelo list too. I said, what the? I'm on the avenue with Canelo list too. You stupid dummy. That Baltimore accent is crazy. Anyway, you dummies. Gervonta Davis is the face of boxing, so he doesn't have to do what you want him to do. And again, Canelo and Gervonta Davis are clearly the biggest stars in the sport. You guys can say AJ. AJ just fought Unveiling. Like, come on, bro. So I thought that was a really good icebreaker from Ray Jackson into this conversation, and a great segue. And you've seen Gervonta Davis spoke on it. Now, before I go further with my thoughts, a brief word from the sponsor of today's video. Check it out. The purpose of this video is to inform you the response from Abdul Wahid, aka Gervonta Davis, aka Tank, and what he had to say about potentially fielding an offer from the Saudis or from the kingdom, from His Excellency, right? And he told what it would take to even get those interactions or those conversations going. He said they're gonna have to do something big, like send 2 Ferraris to my door, right? They're gonna have to express that to me for me to even, consider it. And he's well within his right. Like this is the thing that's so funny with boxing. And I've been in the game for years. It made me an animal. There's a lot of people who they have their favorites and they say certain things. And when you really interpret and break down what they say, they're not really talking about stuff. Don't understand the business, probably don't make much money in the business, etc. And that's the reality of it. And these are the opinions that are floating around freely in the world of boxing. And you guys can believe me, you can believe them, but at the end of the day, it'll all be shown. And then we'll come back. You guys can hear my voice, hear what I'm saying, and then you tell me in the future if I was right. That's all. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm never pressed, right? At the end of the day, everything I'm saying is true. Gervonta Davis is the face of boxing. You got a lot of idiots who they spend all their time talking about Gervonta Davis this and that and making videos and making posts. Oh, he's no good and he needs to fight. I just want to see the best versus the best. And then when these so-called best get beat up or knocked out by Tank Davis, then it's going to be another character that they'll create. We've seen this story time and time again, namely with one of Gervonta's early mentors, which is Floyd Mayweather. Every single time he beats someone, they say, oh, the guy was green. Oh, the guy wasn't ready. Oh, the guy was too old. Oh, he was, no, he wasn't ready. There's always some excuse of who's next and, that wasn't good enough type of attitude. And now that it has the baton, the torch has been passed to Gervonta Davis. He's the lit dude. He's the lit black fighter. He came up under the Mayweather Promotions umbrella. He's teamed up with pretty much the same people, Al Heyman, and now he's the new target that people have. But again, it's his career, it's his choice. He doesn't have to fight in the kingdom if he doesn't want to. And the reality is this: Saudi is probably a beautiful place, but you notice the people who are fighting over there, they are fighting over there if certain conditions exist. For example, the people that I've seen that are fighting in Saudi Arabia, one of two things usually is the case. Either the type of paychecks that they're demanding, they can't get anywhere else. They can't make that type of money. So as a result, they have to fight over there. They have to go to the kingdom to get these exorbitant purses that they otherwise would not be able to get because it wouldn't be feasible in a lot of these American venues, because the American venues, the business is going to be different. Like Saudi, they're bringing events and actors and, trying to bring different things, and they have an amount of money over there where that's feasible. But in boxing, like in America, in the US, boxing, it's a business, and they already have, like Vegas, for example, where a lot of fights happen in Vegas. Vegas has no issues luring tourists into Vegas. People are there monthly, daily, weekly, right? So they don't have to do something different to attract people to come to Vegas. So it's already a hotbed, if you will. So you could just put major fights like Canelo and Mayweather or whoever, Mayweather, De La Hoya, in Vegas, but to each his own. Everybody has their own path. Saudi is a different place. The culture is different. The land is different. And, they have their own guide on what they want to bring and how much they're willing to spend for it. But you're not going to be able to make money by putting Joshua versus Otto Wallin in the UK and probably giving Joshua $25 million or whatever he made to fight Otto Wallin, So if they want to do that in Saudi, that's up to them. So that's one example of fighters like Deontay Wilder. Maybe he can't get the type of money he got for Joseph Parker by fighting Joseph Parker in the States. And then you have a different tier of fighters, which would be, in terms of popularity, a tier below Francis Ngannou, a tier below AJ and Deontay Wilder, who have like bigger profiles and everybody kind of knows them. Then you have the tier below that, like Daniel Dubois and the Gerald Big Baby Millers and guys like Ajit Caballel, you know, guys like that. They're taking these fights and taking these opportunities over there because they've probably never made the type of money that they're making on that particular card. But fast forward to Gervonta Davis, fast forward to the other face of boxing, which is Canelo Alvarez. These guys have made astronomical amounts of money to the point where their decision making can be different. They don't fit into the categories of the 1 and 2 fighters that I just listed that are mostly fighting in Saudi Arabia. In layman's terms, what I'm saying to you is Gervonta Davis, he's built up a fan base here in the States. He doesn't have to go anywhere. He doesn't have to leave the States in order to get a paycheck. But you see, like fighters like, let's say Michaela Mayer, she just went over to the UK. She probably couldn't get that money that she got, whatever she got for that fight with Natasha or whatever. She had to go to the UK maybe for that, right? You got Stephen Fulton, who fought Naoya Inoue in Japan. He might have had to go to get whatever purse he got. He probably had to go to Japan for that. Tank Davis don't have to fight in Japan. He doesn't have to go to Saudi Arabia. He's big here. Same thing with Canelo. Canelo came here age 18, 19, and he can do crazy gates and make a lot of money and have the investors and the networks pay top dollar for him. They just did a deal with Amazon Prime. So Tank is right. Whether you like that or you don't like it, it doesn't matter what you like, because the facts is the facts. So you can't take an athlete who has no limits and then want them to make the same choices of some of the other fighters who are limited in ways of financial earning. Gervonta Davis, you don't see him starving for cash. You see posts with all this money on the table. You see him putting on an event, doing over $1 million just last year. He doesn't have to go anywhere. He doesn't have to travel. And it's almost like in football, if your team has the best record and you're doing really well, you probably have a bye week, right? You're going to have a bye week. It's the fans that don't like Tank. They want Tank to not rest and give up his bye week, even though he's earned it. They want certain fighters to forego their A-side leverage because they want them to. Again, like for Devin Haney, he might have to go to Saudi Arabia to get the purse that he wants, right? Tank Davis is the face of boxing. He's been groomed and he's been developed and branded in America, and he's an American star. You can find him on like a lot of profiles that don't exclusively cover boxing. Vlad TV, guys like Say Cheese TV, and networks and platforms and entities that really aren't even boxing centric, right? That's how big Gervonta Davis is. But unless it's some crazy news, there's a lot of boxers that aren't touching that type of market.